Right. So first topic is related to India's soil crisis. Basically, it is related to the subsidy that government gives on urea fertilizer. Okay. So why it is being termed as fertilizer crisis, subsidy crisis? Because the total value of urea subsidy, okay, has reached how much? $1.9 trillion. Okay. Why this value is important? Because in budget, how much is outlay for entire agriculture only? 1.5 trillion. So subsidy over urea itself is more than what is the entire agriculture budget. Agriculture is not only about spending in fertilizer, it also have what? Irrigation infrastructure, farmer subsidy and all this other scheme. So that is why we can say that what would happen? Agriculture would not be able to focus, or the government would not be able to focus on other aspect of agriculture. That's the burden. 1.3 trillion allocated to urea subsidy alone there. Okay, but whatever is allocation, even the actual expenditure is more than that of allocation as such. Urea price unchanged for last 20 years. Why such a high burden government is facing? Because price it has kept at same rate. Okay, how much is it? 267 rupees per 45 kg of bag, and this price has remained for how many years? 20 years. That means there is no adjustment with inflation. Actually, if you look, whatever was price, actual price, suppose X was the price of urea 20 years back, today it would be how much? Multiple times higher than X. But still government is providing urea to farmers at the same rate. So extra burden that you have, government is facing, that extra burden is being seen in the form of subsidy. Government will have to pay that extra burden, that is a subsidy. So soil degradation, because of the subsidy of urea, and this we have discussed in class also, that generally you need to have ideal ratio of 4:2:1 as far as the nitrogen, phosphorus and potash is concerned. But because of the cheap urea, farmers do not use phosphatic fertilizer, potassic fertilizer that much. What are they using? Urea. Due to this, what is going on? The quality of soil is degrading as such. Okay. So that is the major challenge. Obviously, the fiscal burden you have, economic financial burden, but soil challenge also we are facing. Overall structural background, if you look some brief fact, agriculture is very important sector as it contributes to 45% of workforce employment generation. Contribution in GDP is roughly 15%. Economy you would study about it. High import dependence, even though government is subsidizing urea, production is minimal, because earlier we were only importing phosphate and potash fertilizer. Urea we were able to produce domestically. Now the demand has raised so much that even for urea we are dependent upon how much percentage? Right, that means if 100 tons of urea is being used in India, 75 ton of that is coming from outside. So that is other problem. In case of DAP, that is phosphatic fertilizer, how much is dependency? 90. Potash, I told you in the class that we do not have any potash source, rock potash. So 100% we are dependent upon Belarus, Russia, Canada, this country. So urea dependency also we are seeing, continuous import dependency. The production has not kept pace. And if you try to think why it has not kept pace, simple, because fertilizer producers do not have incentive, right? Because they understand that no matter how much cost increases, they would not be able to earn profit. Why? Because they are not able to sell directly to consumer. Government is procuring at a particular rate as such. So some burden is transferred to fertilizer producers also. So they are not able to earn profit. If they are not earning profit, they cannot invest. If they cannot invest, they cannot do capacity expansion. If they cannot do capacity expansion, they cannot increase the rate of or amount of production as such. Okay, so that is the issue. Subsidy peaked. Okay, this is again value not very important. Subsidy was, okay, today it is $1.9 trillion. In 22-23 it was even $2.5 trillion. Because again, if you think where we are getting our fertilizer from, one of the major supplier is Russia. In 22-23 you had the beginning of war. So due to this, obviously, what would happen to price? It would spike up, and that's the reason why you have the peak of subsidy, peak of the value at $2.5 trillion. Consumption is 40 million tons. Again, some data. That is the structural background. Economic and financial dimension or fiscal dimension of this, if you look, the subsidy that is given to the agriculture ministry, most of it, as we have seen, is transferred to subsidy of what? Urea. And because of this, it is leading to crowding. Crowding means it is taking the share from which sector, which part? Irrigation. Infrastructure development is very minimal. R&D, okay, genetic modification of crops and all that I talk about. Plus even for Fasal Bima, crop insurance scheme that government runs, for that the amount available is very, very minimal in nature. Because again, most of them are going to subsidizing of fertilizer, especially urea fertilizer. What is the other advantage of it? So advantage, it shields farmer from price shocks but locks import dependence. Okay, same thing we have discussed. Excess nitrogen lowers marginal productivity, because if you keep on applying urea in the soil, on long term, what would happen to fertility? Would it reduce or increase? Reduce. That means what we are facing? Reduction in the productivity of the farmland. Okay, overall agriculture yield has declined. So reform has been proposed. The committee that was formed, it has suggested that we should try to gradually increase, because it is not sustainable. For 20 years we are keeping same price of urea. Okay, so unless and until government transfer the burden to the consumer, it will not be able to sustain it in the long term. This problem cannot be solved. Second, government this committee stated that rather than giving subsidy on urea, government should transfer money directly to the account of farmers. Okay, like why farmers today are using urea? One of the problem we are facing today in India, we can say, is overuse of urea. Why are they overusing urea? Because urea they are able to get at very cheap rate. Clear? If suppose the government allow the urea price to rise up, and instead of subsidizing urea, they transfer that same money in the account of farmers, then they will use that fertilizer which is required. If the phosphate is missing, they will use DAP. If the potash is missing, they will use potash fertilizer, because anyway they are getting money as such. Okay, so due to this, we will be able to solve this overuse problem of urea also. Subsidy burden can be reduced. So these are the two most important reform proposal: gradual increase in urea price and per acre direct benefit transfer. Then we have environmental and climate impact. What is the impact? Nitrogen use efficiency, if we talk about, it has reduced by 40% due to continuous overuse of urea as such. Right? 60% of the nitrogen, if you are overusing nitrogen, obviously it will not be taken up by crops. What would happen to it? Some of these will be taken by crops, remaining remain in the soil. Gradually, with passage of time, it would keep on leaching. Leaching means becomes part of the groundwater, for example, or it volatilizes, means in the form of vapor. Okay, gradually it will evaporate away. That will also cause pollution in the atmosphere as such. It is a greenhouse gas, nitrous oxide talk about. So 272 times global warming potential of CO2. Whatever is one molecule of CO2 producing global warming, NO2 produces how much time more? 272. And one of the source of NO2 can be, N2O can be what? Used in the agricultural land as such. So it is basically causing degradation of soil also. It also will cause atmospheric pollution, and it also cause what? Global warming. So threefold adverse implications of this entire debacle we can see. Soil emissions, 20% of agriculture GHG emission, that is coming from urea. Overall, you have seen rise by 7% as far as the global warming is concerned because of urea use. Now soil health and nutrient imbalance, we take a look here. Only 25% of soils of India have adequate soil organic carbon. Why it is so? Again, it is directly related to what? Overuse of nitrogen, nitrate as such. So 90% soils nitrogen deficient despite overuse. Why? Because they are not able to remain in the upper layer. In the soil, what we have discussed? Layers. Layers means O layer, then you have A layer, E layer, B layer. So these layers are not significant for us because crops largely are grown in the upper two layer, topsoil, O and A. No matter how much nitrogen you put this season, gradually all of this which is unused will go where? Settle at the bottom as such. So what would happen? Again you have to put fresh nitrogen. Clear? Fresh nitrate overall. So even though we are overusing nitrogen, nitrogen deficiency is seen in many parts of the India as such. Rising micronutrient deficiency, obviously, because zinc, iron, sulfur, boron, they are not given importance by farmers and such. Okay, they are focusing less on using these micronutrients. So that's also the reason here. The nutrient imbalances reduces food quality, and what else? Yield resilience, NPK ratio that we talked about. Like in Punjab, recently a report came from Ludhiana. Ludhiana, in certain areas, certain farm, it is as high as 20:2:1. Nitrogen is 5 times more that is being used by farmers as compared to the potassic and phosphatic fertilizers. So that's the other challenge we face. Policy and governance issue. Government to tackle this brought soil health card. That means before they thought that farmers do not know which fertilizer to use because they do not know which fertilizer is missing, which nutrient is missing overall. So they said that we'll come up with a soil health card. there will give them that in your part of the land, which fertilizer is excess, which fertilizer, which nutrient is less. So using that, farmers can use whatever fertilizer is required. But again, farmers do not decide based on that. They decide simply on basis of price, because Indian farmers are very small marginal farmers. They are price sensitive in nature. Whatever fertilizer they get at cheaper prices, they will put it. So that's why it was not able to tackle this crisis to that extent. But nonetheless, okay, we have unveiled it. So sampling inconsistencies also we have seen here. Then other practice that government did was of neem coated urea. Okay, neem coated urea is because one problem is like industries, many industries, they were diverting urea that is subsidized in nature. Right, urea that you manufacture, only which urea is subsidized? Agricultural urea. Urea is also used in other industry. So they were using this subsidized urea to divert it to other industry, and the profit they were cornering it. So to tackle that, government come up with the solution of neem coated, because if you coat urea with neem, it is still good for this agriculture, but it is unsuitable for industrial uses. So diversion that was taking place, that were stopped. So it was very good decision. So neem coating of urea reduces diversion, but distortion of price still it is there as a subsidy is being given. Aadhaar linked POS ensures traceability. That is something one suggestion recommendation was given. Why government is not increasing price? Simple, because of the vote bank, because they understand 20 years they have not increased price of urea. If government increases price next year, what they will see? Farmers not happy. If farmers are not happy, entire India is kind of village region, we can say, dominated by farmers such. And every now and then you have elections going on. Due to this, they will face setback in elections. So political reluctance, political vote bank to some extent is responsible for this particular decision of the government as such. Economic survey recommendation is what? Integrate Aadhaar, Pradhan Mantri Kishan Sinchai Yojana, crop insurance data and all that. Okay, and based on that, you should take a call that how to divert and supply subsidy to the farmers. Structural distortions, we are seeing nano urea. So what is the problem? First is the cropping system that we have in India itself. It is largely dominated by which kind of crop? Cereal crop. So in most part of India, rice and wheat is the crop being cultivated. Why they are being cultivated? Because government assures minimum support prices. So farmers feel that no matter whatever changes happen in global price and all that, at least they will be able to sell at a price which is profitable for them. For other crops, there is no concept of MSP as such. That's why farmers are not willing to shift their production from rice and wheat to something else. Second is irrigation expansion that is going on, largely canal irrigation we are seeing. And again, it support which kind of crop? Same, rice, wheat, sugarcane. They again require which kind of fertilizer? Nitrogen. So again, you have overuse as such, right? So the availability of MSP, the expansion of irrigation, plus now government has stated also about ethanol blending. What is being used as a raw material for ethanol production? Maize. Again, if you are cropping maize, maize requires what you can call as nitrogen as such. So if you look at the MSP scheme, irrigation expansion, ethanol blending, we can say government indirectly is also promoting such crops that is dependent upon nitrogen and that is dependent upon use of urea. So unless and until you tackle this problem, you cannot reduce the overuse of urea. You cannot ensure that soil degradation is stopped or limited, okay, minimized. That is the issue. Now a solution was proposed that we should be using nano urea. Okay, nano urea means they are creating new type of urea which is in kind of liquid form. And what is the advantage of it? Cost is relatively less. 500 milliliter bottle cost how much? 225 rupees. And this one 500 milliliter of bottle can be replacing how many kilograms of urea? 45 kilogram of urea as such. Understand? Currently I told you for 45 kg government takes roughly how much rupees? 270 rupees. But this is not the actual price. Actual price will be 3-4 times more. So government has to give subsidy. If you replace it with nano urea, actual cost itself is how much? 225. That means farmers will have to pay same amount of money, right? And it will replace the entire 45 kg of bag as such. So actual price and price that farmer is paying, production price plus price the farmer is paying, both are same. Is there a need of subsidy? No. So the entire subsidy burden can be gradually removed. So that is one very good solution which is being talked about recent times. Field studies have showed, however, yield decline. That's why it is not being accepted at large scale. At pilot scale, it was good, right? That seems that yes, this is equivalent to 45 kg. But if you put 45 kg of urea and you put 500 milliliter of what? Nano urea, the actual yield of crop is relatively lesser in this case. So the concern is that if farmer know about it, why they would use it? Okay, there is no incentive for them if they face decline of crops and all that. So that is one issue we have to solve. If by R&D somehow we can ensure that the decline of productivity is not that much, okay, then we can ensure that uptake is taken by farmers, okay, or uptake is largely encouraged here. Way forward, again same thing, reformist strategy we have to summarize here. What do we have to do? We cannot keep on providing subsidy, especially for fertilizer, one fertilizer that is nitrogen based urea as such. Gradually we have to rationalize the price. We have to increase the price, bring it closer to the market price of other fertilizer. Second is what we can do. Rather than providing subsidy, we can transfer the money directly into the account of farmers. So inflation index per acre direct benefit, DBT is direct benefit transfer. Same as we did in the case of LPG. Earlier, the price of LPG cylinder was subsidized. So you pay less price. Now government has done what? It is providing direct transfer to the account. Price you have to pay the same price like everyone, okay, market price. Nutrient based subsidy alignment, NPK, it is not there, and nitrogen is highly subsidized, phosphorus and potash is very less subsidized. Crop diversification is the way to go forward, because if you shift from cereal crops to pulses and oil seeds, the requirement of urea naturally will go down. So if farmers do not need urea, they do not need subsidy. If they do not need subsidy, we can reduce the subsidy burden. Restore organic carbon via compost and green manuring, align with net zero 2070 goals, because we are trying to ensure that 2070, whatever emission we are making from India, GHG emission, that can be net zero. So that is not again aligned by urea. If you keep on using more and more urea, you are basically this, right? More amount of N2O is going in the atmosphere. So it also does not align with our reduction of GHG gases. So that's the first point, first topic. Second is conference was recently held in Bangalore called as International Conference on Dam Safety 2026. Which ministry? Right. Whenever any conferences are held, what exactly is the minute of meeting and all, you do not have to study. From prelims perspective, what you have to focus upon? Which is the ministry? Which is the department, government or department and all that. So Ministry of Jal Shakti, Department of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. Okay, that is the ministry under Government of India, and obviously because it was held in Bangalore, which other government is involved here? State Government of Karnataka. So three bodies, Government of India, Government of Karnataka and this particular ministry, they concluded this conference. So if you talk about this conference clear from name itself, what is the focus area of conference? Dam safety, to secure dam of India. And it is important because India is the country with third highest number of dams in the entire world. If you rank the countries, India comes at third rank, okay, in the number of dams. At the first rank, which country? China. Okay, second you have US. So China, US and India. Again, important fact from prelims perspective. Third highest number of dam in the world is found in, basically is in India. So entire conference was with the aim to strengthen dam safety ecosystem, focus on implementation of two things. India in 2021 brought Dam Safety Act, right? And second, it also brought a project called as Dam Rehabilitation and Improvement Project. That means already those dams which are operating, there you have to ensure structural safety and operational efficiency. So that is the overall objective of DRIP. Dam Safety Act is very important act. So briefly about them we have to cover here. So if you talk about 2021, largely the act focuses upon three things. Surveillance, continuous surveillance of dam is required to understand if somewhere you have a structural problem, somewhere you have the this, what you can say, okay, structural deficiencies, continuous inspection, operation as well as maintenance has to be conducted at a regular basis as far as the large dams are concerned. Okay, because if any weakness is not rectified, Suddenly you have heavy amount of rainfall in monsoon. Water level will rise. Extra pressure would be experienced by the dam wall. What it can do? Breach the dam. Okay, so collapse of dam. So that is why it was required. For that, government created two major institutions at national scale: National Committee on Dam Safety and National Dam Safety Authority. These two organizations have been given the responsibility of carrying out these operations. Same at the state level. What do we have? A State Committee on Dam Safety, State Dam Safety Authority. So four total organizations, two at national scale, two on state-based level with the same objective that is mentioned in the first point as such. Dam owners are responsible for the safe construction, operation and maintenance of dam. That is clearly highlighted, or we can say is the highlight of this particular act. Who is responsible for safety, operation and maintenance of dam? It is the dam owner as such. Okay, dam owner means the state government can be the responsible, or for example in NHPC, if a dam is largely constructed with the objective of hydroelectricity generation, which organization of India is responsible for maintaining it? National Hydropower Corporation. So entire responsibility will be on this particular organization as such. So that is how the accountability is ensured under this particular act. Now, what is the key highlight of this particular this conference that was held? So emphasis was on dam safety governance framework. Same thing, to ensure that dams are safe. What is suggested? Management of sediments. Okay, at the critical water security issue. So basically, see what happens. Like you have a dam, right? And this side of dam you will have reservoir. Yeah, water is there. Reservoir. And then you have the gates through which you can regulate the flow of water. Now, because river is coming here, river carries lot of sediment, and here river water is stopped. What happens to sediment? They'll keep on settling at the bottom. So when the sediments keep on settling at the bottom, gradually what happens? This depth level keep on reducing. If the depth level reduces, even if you have normal rainfall, what can happen? It can breach, overflow the dam via dam gate and all that. So to ensure that such kind of flooding is prevented, you need to ensure that sediments are continuously being removed. Dredging is the term that you use. There should be continuous dredging. Okay, dredging of sediment from the dam reservoir bottom. That has been highlighted here as a major safety method. Simplified risk screening and dam break assessment tool, that basically you have to create such tools which can be employed at every dam. Okay, you measure these parameter. Based on this parameter, you just screen the risk that you have with this particular dam. You can give a score basically that this dam has how much score, this dam has how much score, by analyzing what? Screening of risk as such. Climate resilient dam management strategy also is required, okay, going forward. So that's the highlight. Flood and emergency management. So forecast informed reservoir operation has been suggested here. Basin level coordination of flood control, real-time data sharing, strengthen emergency action plan. So all these facts, okay, again not very important from prelims perspective, but overall these were discussed, okay, as far as the meeting is concerned. Early warning system also, because we know that the biggest threat a dam faces is due to unpredictable rainfall or cloud burst. So if you have early warning system that can look at the cloud density, the low pressure systems and all that, meteorological stations and centers that you have, we can analyze that yes, this much amount of rainfall is expected in coming days. So what you can do as preventive measure? You keep reducing the amount of water in the reservoir, keep opening the gate. So suddenly there will not be a risk of dam breach or dam break. DRIP we have discussed, Dam Rehabilitation Improvement Project, flagship in the scheme of the same ministry, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Now what is important here is that to implement this project, the financial assistance is not only given by Government of India also receives it from two major agencies. Which two agencies? World Bank and AIIB. What is AIIB? Asian Investment and Infrastructure Bank that you have. Then how much amount of money? $500 million of fund Government of India has received. That is why we are calling this external funding. So from World Bank and AIIB, of almost $500 million of the external funding we received for the DRIP project. Overall aims we already have discussed, so structural and operational safety. That is the main objective of this particular project. What is the need and objective? As we have discussed, India is ranking third, plus many dams. How many dams we have? 6,628. Most of these dams, not most, but you can say a lot of these dams were built long time ago. Many large dams were built during which time? British time itself, or in very early stage of the independence, right? So that's why infrastructure is largely aging here. And in nearby, you would have heard about the biggest dispute as far as dam is constructed. Which dam dispute? Mulla Periyar Dam. Right, Mulla Periyar Dam is in which state? Kerala. Water is given, however, to Tamil Nadu as per the old policy. So Kerala is where you have dam, and it is very old. So Kerala government keep on saying the dam can collapse because it is aging infrastructure, and that's why we should basically what? Remove the water and all that. Okay, basically dismantle the dam and create new dam if you want. Tamil Nadu understand that it is not so simple. If you destroy a dam and create a new dam, it will not happen in 1 or 2 years. It will take many years. So during those years, what will happen to the farmers? Because large number of farmers are dependent upon Mulla Periyar Dam. Again, the farmers' interests are there. The state government is not willing to take that risk, because if farmers are unhappy, they can lose the elections and all. Okay, large scale protests they will have to witness. So that's why Tamil Nadu versus Kerala, they keep on coming at conflict, this keep on coming, they fighting with each other. Okay, Kerala says that this dam should be dismantled. Tamil Nadu says that it is still operational. There is no safety issue as such. We can still use it. That is the issue. So that's why objective is improve safety, operational performance, strengthen institutional mechanism, enable sustainable revenue generation also by using of dam as such. Okay, so these are again phases and all, not important but given in the meeting. Okay, so what do we have? Phase 1 was launched in this 2012 2021. Phase 2 and 3 was launched between 21 to 2031 and all that. So all of these are drift phases. Now one is external funding. Now dams are in the state. So how central government funds it? So those which are a special category states, they are given 80-20. 80% is borne by center, 20% by state government. General state, what is the ratio? 70-30 as such. Those dams which are operated by central agencies such as NHPC, there what is funding? 50-50. 50 by central government, 50 by NHPC for example. And for select special state which is in the hilly areas in northeastern region, 90% of central grant for loan is also given if they want to construct dam infrastructure. So that's the funding pattern. Question can be asked, this not very likely, but sometimes they ask if they want to make difficult question for it, right? So funding pattern you would have in the current affair booklet also. Okay, so you can refer once from there. That is second. Third topic is recent exercise conducted by the Indian Navy. What is exercise called as? Milan. Exercise Milan 2026. So briefly about them we can understand. So Indian Navy, because in this exercise you have involvement of more than 70 different countries. Their naval personnels and boats and ships have come. So to accommodate them, as you can see, government has created entire village-like infrastructure. Okay, local, we can say a temporary village where all the people, naval personnels can be accommodated. So where it is conducted? Visakhapatnam. Okay, it is the headquarter of the Eastern Naval Command. Right, Western Naval Command is in Mumbai. Southern Naval Command headquarter is in this Kochi, and Eastern Naval Command is headquartered in Visakhapatnam. Okay, so if question is asked that exercise Milan is being conducted by which command of Indian Navy? What is the answer? Eastern Naval Command. Cultural social exchanges are also taking place here. These are being done in the villages. 15 to 25 February, that is the overall date. Now it is not for the first time government has conducted this particular exercise. Which edition is it? 38th edition. What is the significance of this exercise? It is believed to be one of the largest maritime engagement, not only for India but in the entire Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so one of the largest maritime engagement in the Indo-Pacific region. How many countries? As discussed, more than 70 plus countries, they have sent their naval personnels and the ships to participate here. 3 countries are participating in this exercise for the first time. Which are these 3 countries? Germany, Philippines and UAE. First time participant. Sometimes they ask question like this, that recently exercise Milan was conducted by Indian Navy. Germany has been the founding member of this exercise. That would be incorrect statement. Okay, so that's how they are framing questions. Several times they have asked such kind of questions. Demonstrate expanding global maritime cooperation, right? Because if you think the initial most exercise, only 4 countries were part of it. So from 4 countries today we have 70 plus countries participating. What it is a demonstration of? That our maritime cooperation, naval cooperation is continuously expanding. Okay, we are getting more and more strategic, reliable, comprehensive this defense partner, naval partner. What kind of exercise it is? First of all, it is not an annual exercise. What exercise? Biennial. Biennial means once in 2 years. Okay, so exercise Milan biennial. Once every 2 years it is conducted. First edition was held in which year? 1995. 1995. Now, initial exercise was largely focused to reduce the assertiveness of China. So that's why it was conducted by which command? It was a small scale exercise, only 4 countries had participated, right? Which countries? Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Thailand. So under which command? Andaman and Nicobar command. Now you can see what we have changed. We have transferred it to Eastern Naval Command of Visakhapatnam. Initial exercise was under Andaman Nicobar command. Now it is being conducted under the Visakhapatnam, that means Eastern Naval Command. Earlier you have only 4 countries, Indonesia, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Thailand. Now we have 70 plus countries. That's the basics. Core objective, if you come, what is the objective of this exercise? So every exercise, whether it is naval exercise, army, air force, one basic objective is to promote mutual understanding. What kind of mutual understanding? That means suppose in future, okay, a war has to be fought. In that case, if you are fighting a war with your partner countries, allied countries, they have to effectively communicate with each other, then only they can be effective. Not only in the case of war, even for carrying out several naval operations, like piracy has emerged as a major threat. So in the Indian Ocean region, many countries join their hands together to counter piracy. How they can counter piracy effectively? If only they are able to understand each other, if they are able to coordinate and basically cooperate with each other. How is it possible? By promoting mutual understanding. So they have to participate in exercise, then only they understand how each of the navies functions, how they communicate, what is their core competency, right? Basic this strategy overall. Plus it also promotes professional interaction. It promotes what? Maritime trust, because it is also a platform where you can show your naval capabilities. Once you show your naval capabilities, then only countries understand that how this strong you are. Okay, what are the what you can call as core competency, again same thing that you have in the naval warfare. Plus, as we under UN also are focused upon which kind of order? Free, open, inclusive and rule based maritime order. Free means in the open seas, high seas, there should not be any threat. A country should not be able to threat any second country that you should not pass through this area. Your trade should not go through or flow through this area. That is mean free. Open, okay, it should be open to all the people, all the countries, sea line of communication. Inclusive, it should not be dominated by single player or double player, 2 player, 3 player. Everyone should have a role, should have a stand to say something as far as the global order is concerned, and it should be based on what? Rules, okay, not random, not based on the power, that whoever is powerful, they will determine or decide everything. But actually, what do we have? Okay, these days, what we are seeing, rule-based order is validated everywhere. Okay, today it is the world where whichever country is most powerful, they are writing the rules. They are doing everything that might not be as per the UN-based system, okay, as per the treaty-based system. So that is the biggest challenge we face. And in the Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, this is being largely exhibited by which country? China, for example. Okay, they have continuously been violating the rule-based order. Okay, they have taken a lot of the islands which actually should be part of Philippines. They have captured it. Okay, part of island of Vietnam, Thailand, they have captured. That is the problem. The structural phases. So overall, this exercise is divided into 2 phases. One is what do you call as harbor phase. Harbor phase means people will not go in the sea on the ships. They will remain where? In the village, in the port that they have discussed, where you will have seminars, okay, SME exchange, cultural interactions and all that to understand each other better. And second phase would be the sea phase. Sea phase is where you will have the naval drills, where the ships of the navies will participate. They will carry out interoperability drills and all. Interoperability means
Recording in progress.
Right, what is interoperability? Suppose you have German naval ships, okay, and you have Indian naval ships. So interoperability here means that whatever equipments, whatever weapons and systems, radar system that you have on one ship, it can also be used from the other ships as such. Okay, that is means interoperable. A system you can use, same system you can use from this ship also, this ship also. How is it possible? If you have two possibilities. One is India has imported a lot of systems. If it is coming from Germany, if it is coming from France, what happens? Interoperability is high as such, right? If you buy aircraft from Russia and you buy missiles also from Russia, interoperability will be higher or lower? Higher, because you can easily fit those missiles in the aircraft. Imagine you buy aircraft from Russia, but missiles you are buying from France. In that case, you have to modify it, okay, because it will be less interoperable. Both systems are designed using different, okay, this we can say designing all that. So that is what we mean by here. So we have to ensure that it is increased. Plus, not only during the war time, we know that naval cooperation is also sought during which kind of operation? HADR, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Okay, so for example, if you have a country that is affected by cyclone, like Sri Lanka recently was affected by cyclone. What we saw? Navies of various countries came to help Sri Lanka. Maldives faced freshwater crisis few years back. What we saw? Chinese Navy, Indian Navy, okay, from the UK Navy you have from Dio Garcia, they were coming there to help. So what is this example of? HADR. Again, they require cooperation. How will you cooperate? Only if you have effectively before participate in exercise, you understand each other's culture, behavior, objectives and all. Plus, focus was also on carrying out anti-submarine warfare. Okay, how to neutralize the threat of submarines. Okay, if it is coming to our territory and all. Plus, tactical maneuver. This is especially again related to China because China has recently focused on developing more and more number of submarines. Okay, they are rapidly expanding their naval warfare capability. So, to keeping that in mind, the anti-submarine warfare could have been made part of it. So, that's the structural phases. What is the strategic and policy alignment of this particular exercise? So, in 2014, we know that we have brought up Act East policy, where you are trying to connect which region? Northeast region of India with Southeast Asia. Naturally, if we want to achieve progress in this, success in this, we have to ensure what? Collaboration with South Asian country. So many countries which have been part of this exercise, they are which countries? Southeast Asian countries. Not only in this edition, but also in the earlier edition. So that is one way how we are trying to support our Act East policy. Plus, the vision that guides India in the naval arena, we have discussed many times. What it is called as? Mahasagar, mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth of all in the region. So this is the policy vision, we can say vision that guides, and to some extent it is also reinforcing it. Reinforces India as preferred security partner. Right? If we try to think about it, the actual capability of a nation is judged when you fight a war, how you have performed, how your Navy, Air Force and Army has performed. That is one way. But you know that war is relatively a rare phenomenon, especially in this time. It is not happening all the time. So how would a country judge that whether you have enough capability to save and make the country secure, especially smaller countries? How they can rely on you or your systems? Only if you show them example. So rather than war, what is one way where you can show example of your capabilities? That is in the exercises. Okay, that is in the drills as such. So when you conduct drill, small countries understand that yes, India has good enough system. Okay, they have a lot of advanced weapon system. Okay, naval arsenal and all that. They can be a reliable and preferred security partner. Plus, it will also provide impetus for importing, okay, of defense product from India as such. Right, there also we have seen massive increase. If you compare with 2005, 2025, okay, lot of increase we have seen in defense export as such. The data is about, in 2005 it was I think about 700 crore and today it has increased to thousands and thousands of crore. Okay, you can take a look at data and that is also promoted here. Strengthen role as same net security provider in which region? Indo-Pacific, because many countries are feeling a threat, facing a threat from China, its assertiveness. Taiwan, right? You have Philippines, we have discussed Indonesia, Vietnam. So they can look toward India in that regard. So it provided opportunity for ensuring maritime diplomacy and naval interoperability, that we can write as conclusion. So this has been the objective. The second exercise that India has conducted is called as Vajraghat exercise. Vajraghat, so this is a military exercise, army based exercise we can say. So Milan is naval exercise. If they want to ask questions, they can also write match the following questions. Name of exercises, which part of military is involved, army, air force, navy and all that, or country based, which country, which exercise. So Indian Army has conducted recently exercise Vajraghat. Where was it conducted? Where we conducted our nuclear test. Where? In the Pokhran region of Rajasthan, in the Jaisalmer. And in this particular exercise, the army demonstrated operational readiness of K9, okay, Vajra artillery system. It was exercise not with some other country. It was exercise conducted by Indian Army only to showcase its capability. In what sphere? Artillery warfare. What kind of artillery we have promoted here? K9 Vajra, that is the name we have given to. It is kind of howitzer, okay, kind of weapon. So it can be used as a gun also, it can be used as a kind of grenade launcher also, both at the low angle and high angle. So it focuses upon which kind of warfare? Desert warfare condition. That is how we have designed this particular weapon system. This K9 Vajra, it is specifically designed for carrying out warfare in the case of desert-like condition. So you understand it is largely to neutralize the threat of Pakistan, okay, in the case of conventional warfare. What is the exercise of Vajraghat? Sorry, objective of exercise Vajraghat? Validate the tactics that we will be using in case of any conventional warfare, techniques and procedures that we have to follow. TTP it is called in the short form. The tactics, technique and procedure in the conventional warfare. Yeah. Always you will see in news, the term is mentioned, conventional warfare. Many times conventional warfare is not considered as modern warfare. Both of these many times seem to be different. Conventional warfare means age-old warfare, traditional method of warfare, where you have tanks, artilleries, guns, okay, deployment of troops that is being carried out. On the other hand, modern warfare is largely guided by which system? Electrical electronic system, you have the UAV drone based systems and all this kind of thing. So in the case of conventional warfare, TTPs are being exhibited here. Enhance battlefield survivability, enhance operational effectiveness, strengthen combat posture. In which sector we are focused upon? Obviously, which sector? Western sector. Okay, that is where we have the desert area, Thar Desert. Is spearheaded by which division of the army? Army has several divisions. So White Division, it is called as White Division, White Tiger Division, that is responsible for managing this K9 howitzer. What is the operational significance? So in this exercise, Indian Army, we can say, it has exhibited that if need arises, we can rapidly deploy heavy artillery in this sector. Okay, this we have to understand from 2001. Okay, in 2001, attack was carried out on the Parliament of India, and Government of India was fully prepared to give a befitting reply to Pakistan. How? By launching a strike. The problem is that you have very short window, small window that time, because there are a lot of diplomatic pressure being exerted by United States, UK and all that, because Pakistan went there and said that you should ask them to tone down, okay, the threat of war, because that time Pakistan also showed its willingness to use nuclear weapon if India launches attack, tactical nuclear weapon, not the conventional one. So the problem is that they had enough time to apply diplomatic pressure. Why? Because our mobilization time was very long. We were not able to mobilize our artillery, army and all, that we can launch a quick attack. So by the time we will be able to mobilize it, send all the troops and this artillery to the border, already we have become kind of calm, okay, due to diplomatic pressure. So war was avoided. From that we have learned a lesson and we have focused on what? That our response time in case of a preparation of war should be minimal, okay, quick in nature. That is what they are trying to show. Same adaptation to harsh desert area, it has been exhibited here. Reinforces readiness along western border, strengthen deterrence as well as firepower capability. Because these weapons, howitzers, K9 that we have discussed, what is the main use of this? They are used for destroying the army bases that you have. Okay. For example, the mobilization line that you have, because Pakistan is bringing tanks, artilleries and all that. They have created base and all that. Reinforcement they are bringing. So those can be destroyed by using which kind of weapon? This Howitzer gun. So K9 is example of Howitzer. If you look at Howitzer briefly, two type of Howitzers you have. One is self-propelled. Other is called as towed. Towed means you have to use some other vehicle to bring it. Self-propelled means it can move by itself. It has engine, it has diesel, and that you can put. So it does not have to depend on some other vehicle to be pulled apart. So K9 is example of self-propelled howitzer. It's designed with joint collaboration of South Korea. So South Korea has original called as K9 Thunder. So in India we have changed that name to K9 Vajra. Okay. So overall defense collaboration in this sector is with South Korea. That is with which we have discussed. Backbone artillery system of South Korean army. Okay. Procured under which category? By global category. So under this category we have procured this K9 Thunder. We have renamed it as K9 Vajra, and now we are jointly developing it in India also. So key features, if you take a look here, long range precision fire capability, accuracy is very, very high, and the most important point is because see, howitzer that we are talking about, K9 Vajra, it is something that is a weapon. Weapon requires artillery. That is what you are firing. So if it is not compatible with your ammunition, you need to import ammunition also. And here we have advantage because this gun can use ammunition that we develop in India. Okay, we produce in India as such. Okay, it can consider as like this. Okay, imagine you have a gun and bullets come in different sizes, right? So if you have a gun, but you have bullet that cannot be fitted in the gun, that gun is what? Useless, right? Because it not have required bullet. Here what do we have? Bullet also and gun also. Both are fitting into each other. Okay, compatible with each other. Second, it is compatible with also NATO standard ammunition. What is the advantage? Advantage is that in case of war, if you face the shortage of ammunition, domestic shortage of ammunition, what you can do? You can import it from other countries because it is widely available. All the NATO countries are producing same ammunition, same, right? So easier availability we can say. In Ukraine, you have seen this problem because Ukraine used to be part of Soviet Union. So their ammunition system was of Soviet grade, which Russia is using. But Russia then attacked the manufacturing facilities. Due to this, Ukraine faced ammunition shortage. The problem is that even if NATO countries are willing to supply their ammunition, it cannot be fitted in the traditional conventional weapons that Ukraine uses. So that was the issue, right? So that will not have to face in the future because both are compatible. All welded steel armor for protection it carries, designed for high mobility because it is self-propelled, speed and velocity can easily be increased. Okay, in the case of towing, you have this problem. Okay, because the vehicle has to first tow itself, right? And then it has to have extra burden it has to carry. So that is why the towed howitzers have lower speed, lower agility, it will have higher agility. Next, India and Germany deepen telecom ties after signing Digital Cooperation Pact. Recently, both countries have signed Indo-Germany Telecom Cooperation, Indo-German Strategic Partnership, we can say. Meeting to advance telecom and digital transformation cooperation. This is based on a JDI, Joint Declaration of Intent. Both countries signed in the bilateral summit, okay, that took place in year 2026 as such. Okay, strengthening of a strategic digital partnership, that is the overall objective here. Okay, so simple, keep in mind that India and Germany, they have signed a strategic partnership in digital area. Now, why we have signed it? I told you it is due to the JDI, Joint Declaration of Intent framework we have created earlier. What is this framework? First, forward looking simple, it is just word. Forward looking means we have to look continuously forward, okay, look at, analyze future. Most important is which kind of framework? Non-binding. Countries have signed, it does not mean they have to necessarily abide by it. If they wish, if they feel, they can work on it. Otherwise, it is non-binding. Second is structural collaboration in which sector? Telecom and digital governance. And why India has cooperated here with Germany? Because both have shared values as far as digital governance, data sharing and its this management is concerned. What kind of values? Openness. There should be transparency. How data is being utilized, how data is being used, how consumers' data government utilizes and uses. Second is trust. India trusts Germany, Germany trusts India, that they will not misuse the data if they share with each other. Third is both focuses upon innovation in this field, and fourth is resilience. Okay, resilience against cyber threat, cyber attack, and all that. Now, why such kind of agreement becomes critical for India? Because we know that in last couple of years, decades we can say, India has shown a massive transformation and achievement in the digital arena or sphere. What are the examples of it? First of all, from user-based perspective, India today is one of the largest telecom subscriber, nation of largest telecom subscriber. How many people? 1.23 plus billion people. Out of that, at least 1 billion people are using internet. That means they are putting some sort of data at least on internet, which is available in public domain and all that. That's why data responsibility increases. Plus, we are also trying to bring 5G coverage that we have in 99.9% of India's district. Okay, district means in that district some spot we have. It does not mean that everywhere you will get 5G coverage, right? District wise we are covering. Data tariff is one of the lowest at the global scale. Nowhere else will get so cheap data as you have in India. As the mobile plans that you get, data plans that you get, how much? Average cost is roughly 1.1 US dollar per gigabyte. Okay, that means roughly we can say 8 rupees. Okay, 8 to 9 rupees per gigabyte as such. UPI processes also has catapulted this transformation because 250 billion transactions annually we are carrying out with the help of unified payment interface. Okay, UPI. That's why we are also seeing it is being adopted in other countries also, right? Like Singapore, Dubai. Okay, I think 1-2 more countries they have begun to use the UPI interface and system of India as such. That's the transformation story. Now, why Germany can be a useful partner here? Because Germany traditionally always have shown their expertise in which field? Technology. Okay, no matter which kind of manufacturing you talk about, automobile, steel production. Okay, you have the R&D. Everywhere Germany has shown its expertise, and the future area, in future the area where we can cooperate upon is quantum encryption, because Germany is rapidly developing how to use quantum technique, okay, to transmit data from one place to other place. Why quantum? Because this data cannot be hacked, cannot be interfered with, interacted with. Okay, so this is one of the most safe and secure way of transferring data as such. Highest form of encryption, if you ask, where you will see, if we are able to effectively able to communicate using quantum technique. So that's where Germany is working, and that can also be important from India. Secure information transport system, that is the we can say objective of Germany in the future. 35 kilometer of quantum communication demo they have given, right? It is not only that they are talking or their initial stage, they have shown that by using quantum technique method, they were able to transport data, information by up to how many kilometers? 35 kilometers. So in future, this range will keep on increasing. So over national scale, over international scale, in the coming decade, we can see communication by quantum technique. So this is the next generation, new generation, evolving frontier. India cannot be left behind. That's why we have collaborated with Germany. One of the reason, okay, because of the quantum field where they are working. 11 consecutive days of stable transmission also they have shown the same. That they were able to send data to 35 kilometer, and it's not that it is one time they send and again it did not work. Continuously they showed it for 11 consecutive days. They were able to ensure stable transmission. So all of these are very this futuristic in nature. Priority areas for collaboration, again, what do we have? 5G we are bringing in future. Also 6G standardization we are trying to bring here. We are trying to modernize our networks and build a trusted architecture. Right? Recently you would have heard about India also has decided to open data embassy in UAE. Why? Because we are handling so much amount of data. Everything, whether it is a public record, government record, everything is in which space? Cyberspace. Imagine that during the time of war, a large scale attack is carried out against India's cyber system. What is possibility? We might lose data. So that is why we need to have backup somewhere. So UAE is where we are putting backup, that even if India lose the data, we can retrieve it from the servers that we have placed in UAE. Right? So that is example of the same kind of sector transformation. So that is where we have Germany also we are trying to build here. Supply chain resilience, AI at the age of network and slicing, plus open RAN ecosystem. Yes, these are the priority areas for collaboration. Now, Germany also has supported India in this sphere, and one of the recent example is India's candidature for International Telecommunication Union. India is trying to become a member of International Telecommunication Union. Which bureau? Radio Communication Bureau. Germany is already a member country here. So Germany's support carries a huge weight. So we can take advantage of there. India anyway was re-elected to ITU Council between 27 to 2030. It will be part of this. It is also hosting ITU Plenipotentiary Conference. It is enhancing India's overall global telecom leadership. Not important from prelims, but what is important for prelims is the International Telecommunication Union. Question based on this can easily be asked. International organization, whenever they come in the news headline, question generally is asked from them. So ITU, what is ITU? United Nations Specialized Agencies for Information and Communication Technology, okay, at the global scale. Where it is headquartered? Important fact, Geneva in Switzerland. Pre-World War II or post-World War II? When was it created? Before World War II or after World War II? Before, okay, so 1865. Allocates global radio spectrum and satellite orbits, develops the technical standard for radio communication or any kind of communication as such. Okay, that is the role of ITU. India has remained a regular member since what year? 1952. How question can be framed? India has been the founding member of ITU. True or false? False. India is not a founding member. It joined almost 100 years later in 1952. So very, very important facts. Make sure that you remember about the ITU. Member of, not ITU. ITU, India is member of. Within ITU, you have a special bureau. Okay, what is it called as? Radio Communication Bureau. So India is member of ITU, but Germany is supporting it to become a member of Radio Communication Bureau under ITU. Okay, so that is a separate sub-branch. Now, if you look at few of the questions based on today's topic. So India's fertilizer subsidy is includes the following statement. Urea is under statutory price control unlike phosphatic and potassic fertilizer. Nutrient-based subsidy scheme currently applies to urea. India import nearly 100% of its potash requirement. What is the correct option? 1 and 3 only. Okay, 100% potash we are importing, 90% phosphate, 70% urea. Nutrient-based subsidy is not for urea. It is completely price-based subsidy. Okay, that you have here. Exercise Vajraghat. What is the correct option? Very simple. What we are trying to prove here? Validation of operational readiness of what? K9 Vajra artillery in desert condition. That means in the case of conventional warfare, we are quickly able to mobilize it and are able to destroy enemies' bases and targets. Then exercise Milan. What is the correct option? Biennial, once in 2 years, multilateral naval exercises initiated in 1995. When it was initiated, only 4 countries were part of it. Now we have participation from 70 plus countries. Then in dam rehabilitation and improvement project. What does it aim? Enhance the structure and operational safety of dam. That is the main objective. Does it get external support? Yes, we have discussed World Bank and AIIB. $500 million of support we have received. Privatization, no, it does not promote privatization. Okay, so what is correct option? 1 and 2. B is the right option, right? So that's what you have to discuss.